So, like a lot of kids, I played video games a fair bit when I was growing up. Whether I was playing at my place or I was playing with a friend, I enjoyed sitting in front of the computer, or if you know, because I had friends. I didn't have a gaming system myself, but I had friends who had things like a Sega or a PlayStation or whatever else, and yeah, I enjoyed that up till about the age of probably 16 or 17, because it was at that age when like if before that, if I'd been out at the mall, I'd go check out the game store. I just want to see what the new releases were, and that sort of thing. But after about the age of 16 or 17, I didn't really bother anymore. I suppose I had other things going on, and I was spending more time outdoors. And so yeah, after that age, unless I was at a friend's place and playing games with them, I didn't really bother anymore. And then cut to when I'm about 28. Yeah, I was 28. An old friend of mine, old flatmate, because he would come home from work and he was happy to play video games, and most of the time, like, he was just content to play himself. But then there was this game that he got called Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, and exactly as the name suggests, it was all the Pirates of the Caribbean characters from the franchise and all the different scenes, except they were all Lego characters. So it was all like a Lego universe. And he started getting into this game. And after a couple of nights, he started saying to me, he was going, "Oh, you should play this. Come and join, play. And because he didn't normally do this, I thought, well, this must be a good game. And what would be the worst thing about joining him? I could either really get into it, or it's not going to really be my thing. Just put the controller down and do something else. So I picked up the spare controller, turned it on, and selected player 2, and away we went. How the game worked was that you went through all these stages and you'd fight other characters, and if you beat these other characters in quests or in battles, then you would be able to play as that character. It wasn't just the main characters from the franchise, but even minor characters, minor villains. And the aim of the game was obviously not just to clock the game, but to collect as much treasure as you could. So coins, all that sort of stuff, and to unlock all the characters. Now, earlier on in the game, we found this treasure chest, and there were these special items that you could buy. And one of them was this ability to multiply the treasure that you collected. So there was something called treasure times 2. So basically, all the coins, everything you collected, would be multiplied by 2. There was a treasure times 3 one. And I remember we saw one that was called treasure times 5. And I was saying to my flatmate, I was going, "Oh, how about we get that one? Like, how good will that be?" Because everything that we would collect from then on would be multiplied by 5. But no, he said he'd seen one that was treasure times 10. And I was like, "Oh, but how long is that going to take?" And he was saying, "Oh, think how good that would be if everything that we collected was multiplied by 10. So I thought about this and I went, "Yeah, all right, let's do that." So we decided that instead of just going for treasure times 3, which we could afford at that point in time, or treasure times 5, we'd hold off until we could come back and we could afford treasure times 10. So that was it. But the thing with earning enough to buy treasure times 10 is that we had to do a lot of backtracking. It took a lot of time. We had to go back through levels that we'd already cleared to look for special stages. We had to fight old characters. We just had to explore every single nook and cranny just to look for the missing treasure. And it was frustrating at times. We spent a lot of nights trying to achieve this. Spent a lot of nights just looking for anything that we might have missed the first time around. And it was difficult. It was difficult. It was a long quest. It was really a long quest to do this, But at last the time came. We'd collected enough treasure and we could afford treasure times 10. So we went to the chest and we accessed it. And we had it, treasure times 10. So after that, every little coin that we collected, all the treasure that we collected from then on, in like a Olympic bobsledding or the sprinting or motor racing, that sort of thing, how it will have it'll have the time counter and it'll be timing to like hundredths of a second. And so you just see this number flickering, just going like that. That's what it was like looking at our score count. It was great. Like, we're just collecting all this treasure, and it was just, felt unbeatable. And I was saying, oh, like, this was so worth it. Like, all these nights that we put in and all this backtracking and all the frustration, and it's paid off. And it felt so good to have accomplished it. And then at that moment, I had a revelation. Yeah, see, the revelation that I had was, like a lot of things in life, that you can take the easy path, but if you put the extra effort in, and sometimes you do have to backtrack, and if you deal with those frustrations and that extra testing, you will get a far greater reward for it. So, what do you want to do? I mean, you can take the easier option and you'll get to your goal quicker for the most part, but is that going to be worth it? Or you could go for something more difficult. I don't know what your treasure times 10 is, but it's there. We all have stuff that we want but don't currently have. That's just a fact of life. So if you've got goals, in going about them, is the juice worth the squeeze? That's the first thing you got. That's the first thing you got to work out. Taking into account that it's not going to be easy. Is it worth it? Is it something that you want that much? Is it something that you have that much of a strong desire for? But once you decide to go all in, then go and do it. And acknowledge that, there are going to be times that are testing, and there's going to be frustrations, and you're going to have to sink a fair bit of time into whatever it is you want to accomplish. But when you get there, if you get there, it's all worth it. It's totally worth it. And the beauty is not just the getting of the reward, but the lessons that you learn along the way and the person that you become in that journey. I spoke before about the 10-week boxing program I did, Fight Like a Pro, and the fact that at the end of that 10 weeks, it wasn't just the fact that that I won my fight. Spoiler alert. It wasn't just the fact that I won my fight that was great. It was the journey itself. It was the fact that I enjoyed every moment as it happened. It was the things that I learned along the way. It was the person that I became in that 10-week journey there. And it's just funny, isn't it? Like, this is what just a video game that I played in my late 20s made me realize. So that's what I discussed in this article, and as always, you can find the link down below, and I go into a bit more detail, but that was the general crux of it. That I don't know what your treasure times 10 is, but you're going to have those things that are your treasure times 10. And rather than just taking the easier option, I'd encourage you to go all in and to acknowledge that it might be more difficult to get to your treasure times 10. It might take a bit more time and demand a bit more of you, and you'll have to deal with the frustrations and the areas of your own character that have to grow and have to develop. But it'll be worth it. When you finally get that reward, when you finally achieve that goal, it'll feel so good that you did it. And I can almost guarantee that you won't regret that you took the harder path and the longer path as well. So that's a wrap from me today, guys. So as always, share this video with anybody who is maybe a bit discouraged from going for their treasure times 10. Subscribe to this channel as well if you haven't had the common sense to do that already. Otherwise, I'll be making a few more videos because I do have some more catching up to do with some of the more recent articles that I've been writing. So you'll be hearing from me again soon. But until next time, enjoy going for your treasure times 10. Best of luck with it, whatever it might be. I'll catch you later.